call, we have a call to order to establish a quorum. We have a quorum, so this meeting is officially started to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You're looking at the card less all the time.
Huh?
You're looking at the card less and less all the time.
Well, thank you. Okay. Next, that takes care of that. Citizens' comments, and I believe our attorney, Mr. Rosenberg, had some comments he wanted to make.
Yeah, I need to change hats for just a minute. We had our Wcesd Children's Foundation meeting for distribution at Walmart starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday. Ken gave me the total count. We had participants from the 4th of Lassie, 2 from Stockdale, and 1 from Pope. And basically, passed out $50 per child for those that participated. And we invited you all to have a crew there. For aid, our help, and comfort, because it was out in the sun. And B, we thought it was a good opportunity to give you a chance to demonstrate your prowess and your equipment and your manpower, and women power, and your presence. Thank you for being there, and on behalf of all those people that saw you did, I think it was a good show.
Yes, sir. Thank you. They said they had a really good time out there.
Well, that's good.
And had a good time interacting with everybody.
Good.
Good.
I think that's good public relations for all involved. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
Put my letter out.
Okay.
Sir, I'm sorry, what was it again?
For Wilson Area
Children's Foundation.
And they're the folks who do the cowboy breakfast
Yeah,
every year to sponsor the funds for the camp.
in the prior to school, they give needy families $50 per child for clothing. You know, because there's all kinds of things that are in school supplies. So this is where we do a clothing.
And it's the week after Walmart does not Walmart, the state does the official deal, so the markdowns are very low, and money goes a long way.
They get a lot more, and it's tax exempt for the organization, so, you know, you can have it any time, you don't have to do it. Because trying to do it on tax-free weekend is just ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. Item 4, review update to the Cimarron project. We had a meeting today, and then Glenn, you went by. You went by after the meeting. Anyway, the doors are supposed to be delivered tomorrow. Now, I didn't necessarily get that they were being delivered to the station.
No.
And they said, but it'll be a few, but anyway, this is 8 days earlier than what we had originally projected, because the 28th was the first day. The glass is supposed to be in Thursday. Louvers Wednesday. Finishing electrical this week. I know there was some electrician there working.
Yep.
Phone internet's been installed. Topaz alarm system was there today. And they were going to provide us some info.
Where they do the monitoring.
Where they'll do the monitoring. But anyway, we've got to get that from them. They're now talking about possibly being done with everything the first week of September. They'll do their punch list the second week of September. And then after they've done the punch list, the third week of September is, we'll then review with the architect, the punch list, and so they're looking at like, we may be able to take possession in the 3rd week of September. Not-
And
Yeah,
and we still need to be looking at, the washing machine,
yeah, I've got,
refrigerator,
we've got,
got a list of furniture from the, dealer that Sean showed us.
we do,
Institutional,
okay,
we may want to look at that and try to get some color things from
yeah.
Ricardo.
They're supposed to do the striping and the ceiling, on the 28th.
Yeah.
And they're gonna paint that curb for us when they do that.
Good.
Yeah, I talked to them, and they're gonna paint that curb yellow. Hydro, there's also, they think, once the doors are in and they can secure the building, they're taking the fence out. And then they'll come in and clear things up, and then they'll put that hydro mulch down. Now, what, I was talking to them about that hydro mulch today, and they're saying you ought to water it every day for the first 2 weeks. They said, but you don't have to start the minute it's put in. It can stay there for a week or so, week or two, before you actually start watering it. But once you water it, and just like with sprinkler or something, you know, we don't want to use like fire hoses or, you know.
From my understanding, they were just gonna set up a temporary sprinkler system
Yeah,
with
we're
PVC
talking
pipe.
about just running the PVC pipe.
Yeah, something like that, and that we just do
Or
for,
we might just get a couple of the cheap hose timers for a while,
yeah,
just keep people from having to go back and forth.
yeah. Furniture, fixtures, and equipment, we just need to make decisions on that. The bay floor, there's a little staining in there, and so talking to them about that, getting that fixed. I mean, it's not major, but it's not, you know, needs to be resolved, so made them aware of that. I made them open the breaker boxes. Breakers aren't marked. They will be.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only about 100 of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. They said, oh, yeah, I'm sure they, you know, so, well, show me. And so, yeah. Curb gonna be painted yellow, the signage, Martinez is supposed to get us something pretty quick, finalize, sign off on that, so they can get that done, because that could be a 3-4 week lead time,
Yeah.
so.
We're talking about both logos, one for.
Okay, one on each side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, Matt wanted to talk to you about coming over and looking at something, and he was walking away from me, and my hearing's so good, I said, yeah, well, I'll have the chief get back to you.
Okay,
So
so I was just gonna send him an email, so that way I get it in writing, so that way if
Yeah.
there's no misunderstanding on
Yeah.
what he's wanting.
That's
If you're
fine.
not sure on what it was in reference to, on what he wanted us to do.
Well, you probably got his email.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that's fine,
Okay.
do that. So anyway, that was, I mean, do you have anything else on it?
No, I think that's about it. We covered everything.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
Larry, next Monday, Best Buy will be up and install all your,
Yeah,
every
26.
right. Okay,
they're gonna install the router. Now, it all depends, I was told by Matt, the building would be able to be secured by then. If not, we're not gonna leave routers and all that sitting there.
yeah,
They'll make, according to Best Buy, they said they would make 2 trips.
okay. Well, we'll see.
They can put the access points in, and they're using Cat 6, not Cat 5.
Okay.
So that's a gift swap.
Well, they want that fence. I know they really want that fence. So, and I know they can't get the fence till the building's secured. So I think they've got their own incentive. I don't know what it is they need the fence for. But
What they
yeah,
talk about
next
is
year.
quit paying for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So anyway, okay. And they'll have somebody in right after they pull the fence out, clear stuff out, get it cleaned up, look nice before they do the mulch. Okay, review, discuss, and approval of July 2019 regular meeting minutes. I did not bring the copy with me, but I know that I reviewed what was submitted. Or is there any comments?
Really, I know we're talking about number 3 on the citizens' comments. Where the original had discussed their interest in the board considering merging with ESD2, where it sounded like the board was merging with itself, and what the people wanted was to have their subdivisions and neighborhoods come into ESD2. And I know we went back and forth, but I never saw a final copy.
Yeah, the final is just up and down with the resident permit, and we all discussed their subdivision's interest in merging with ESD2.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
All right, thank you.
good. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Whittick, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham to accept the July regular meeting minutes as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, review, discuss, and approval of the August 2019 special meeting minutes. That was where we represented the petitions for the annexation. Any comments? Motions?
Move to accept.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Whittick to accept the August 2019 special meeting minutes as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 7, review, discuss, the approval of July 2019 treasurer's report.
Everybody get one?
Yep.
Questions?
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, are there any comments or motions?
In QuickBooks, whenever we're all managed to find each time that we take out for the buildings, does it have a breakdown on exactly what is being paid to? It does.
She does, I mean, yeah, I mean, she gets all this documentation, goes in the file that's been certified by AGCM and what's done and what's each company. We've got a big file.
Both the architect and AGCM have to sign off before we.
They sign a release.
Yeah,
That allows me to charge for the fees.
yeah.
I don't think, it's nothing to you, Kelly. I just want to know why we spent $522 at O'Reilly's. And I never saw any
They love
information on the
O'Reilly's.
purchase of PO.
That was probably the day the alternator went out. But that's an emergency repair.
Oh, understand, but I still see a receipt.
Okay, I'll get it over to you on the invoice run. I can have them pull the exact, the itemized. In the same day, I had to replace a battery and an alternator, and that's probably exactly what that was.
One other, who's Western Services?
Who?
Weston, up here at the Wally, they do body work,
Oh, okay.
sign
Yeah.
work, and they did some work on one of the
Yeah.
vehicles today.
Yes, after the accident with the community.
That's right.
They're the ones who did the repair.
Okay, thank you. Move to accept treasurer's report.
For a second.
I'll second.
Motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Whittick to accept the July 2019 Treasurer's Report as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now, we discussed this in the budget meeting, and we discussed it at regular meetings, that funding this year, has been lower than we needed, and we're getting close to the end of the year, and it's going to be really close on making payroll through really November when we start getting our head in the floor on it. I went to the bank and talked to Roger and asked about borrowing $150,000 for 4 months. I don't think we're going to need that much. We calculated during the budget session that it was going to be somewhere between 70 and 80 maybe, depending on what we get when we get that indigent care. And so I explained all that to Roger. He felt like they could do it. He needed a balance sheet from us, and he needed a list of the directors, the board. So we provided him that. But he also needs a resolution from us. So now, I think I emailed out the resolution to everybody. We'll have to sign some. But basically, what it says, and it did say 150,000. I changed it to not to exceed 150,000. Just gives us some latitude with what to do. Since I'm around and our treasurer, for some reason, thinks she has to stay employed, I named myself as the person to negotiate the deal with the bank. Roger thinks there won't be any issue with getting it done and having us some money probably by the first of the month. Sure.
Thankful.
Oh, we'll enter into, yeah.
Yeah.
We can,
I missed that the other day.
I can fix that.
Sure, just a quick question. This has nothing to do with the Cimarron project.
This has nothing to do with the Cimarron project. This is just for operating funds.
Residential stuff.
Yeah, because we've had more expenses than we thought we would have. We're on the Cimarron project. I believe we're probably going to come out with not spending as much as we've got in the bank on that, and we may wind up with some extra. But I'm not comfortable pulling any of that money out. Yeah, that's separate and still in good shape.
Because we have our indigent home.
Yeah.
Another one?
Issuer. Should be ISS3ER.
Check, didn't catch that. I need to administrate first. Okay, any more discussions? Huh? He was finding that out for me, yeah. But it won't, it's still only for 4 months.
Hopefully sooner than that.
Yeah,
We'll get the funding and then pay it back.
yeah.
I'll make a motion with the resolution
Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Woodick to,
No.
Commissioner Hawkins, that's what I wrote down, but Commissioner Hawkins to approve the resolution for a short-term operating loan from Fall City National Bank. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll have to sign the resolution.
You said Fall City Bank?
Fall City.
Fall City.
Yeah. Not to exceed $150,000. Okay. 9, review, discuss, and approval of July 2019 attorney's fees, which were $38.59.50. You have that invoice with you? Okay, I want to show this.
38.39.50.
38.50.
Yeah.
38.595.
38.59. Right here is.
Yeah, this is the one on that letter. You know, anything we get registered mail comes to his office. So when I was on vacation, that was and that's why I sent out the memo, don't open it, because I saw the bill. Because those we turn over to AGCM, and they've been handling them with North Star. North Star has been, you know, just
Yeah.
mess.
No, it's one thing we can't put on that is.
No, I'm saying, they're as good as that.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And we knew it when we looked at the proposal. We said we'll try it.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me look at that, there's more than just the receipt there.
Oh, it is? Okay, well then,
But
that's what I just saw, all of the McGregor Act and, yeah, okay. Okay.
And I did do a letter to Ryan telling him that.
Okay.
I'm gonna review that completely.
Okay, we'll go ahead and pay it, and then if there's anything you choose to do, we'll do it on the next one.
I'll make a motion, we pay our attorney to do these.
So
What we did tonight is instead of sending you over an email and going through the letter process, I just brought it in.
Yeah, I got a couple of them came today. Yeah.
It looks like what your vendors are doing, or your suppliers are doing, is sending you the job on letters before it's even time.
Yeah. And ABC just works it out for us, that's what they're paid to do, so I just send them copies every time we get something, they get it worked out.
And what I was concerned about the last time around, it's in the bill, is the McGregor Act prevents them from leaning if I get it. So in their lien notice, they were threatening to lien you instead of one against the bond.
Yeah. Okay, there's the motion by Commissioner Whittick, seconded by Commissioner Cunningham to pay the July attorney's fees of $3,859.50. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, review, discuss, and possible approval of donation buttons for Facebook.
Did everybody get the email that I sent out with the information on this?
You got all your wife did all the work for it?
When did it get sent out?
This morning.
124.
Okay.
Oh, mine says 706.
Okay. I missed it, but if y'all have seen it, what are they looking for?
So is what they're asking for is Facebook must be enrolled through Facebook Pay, which basically is just so that way you have a means to accept the donations. It's like Apple Pay or PayPal, anything else, just Facebook. Part of it, so when people donate, it has a place to go. And then PDF copy of the bank statement from the last 3 months. That the reasoning from that is they're wanting a review and they're wanting to verify your status as nonprofit, the date of birth of the organization, or CEO or executive director. So it could be Larry's date of birth, something there.
That's a security issue probably.
Yes, and make sure to tie it to that we have a real organization. And then they want the EIN, the tax ID, and it'll take 2 to 3 weeks of getting approved. The main reason for this request is due to, so as you know, we do a lot of different things for the community. One of those being, we'll go out and conduct controlled burns for people that have either large brush piles and things like that they're uncomfortable burning, or they're too large for them to burn under TCEQ. So they'll call us out, we'll go ahead and do the burn so we have personnel on site and it's safe and they don't have to worry about getting away from them. A lot of the times they want to make donations. A lot of people don't carry cash or checks on them anymore, so they ask if we have an electronic way for the money to be donated. And of course, and that's kind of what prompted this. And then there's been several different times where we work house fires, different things like that, and people ask how are we set up to accept donations. It's basically just trying to add another way in the current time.
Okay, who will the donation be made to? District 2 or the ESD? Now, District 2 is the 501c3.
It's going to be made to District 2.
Okay, so that's the one we would need to provide the information.
Yes, because it's set up as a nonprofit.
Right.
As with Baby's nonprofit.
It is opposed to government entity.
Yes.
Right.
No, I mean, just say the whole city back to do most of the work.
We'd only have one account
Yeah.
that we need to provide, because if we did
Right.
District 2 and they won't statements, even the last 3 months is gonna be that much. We all the different bank accounts we've got, so
Yeah.
what we did, so.
Saying we probably don't need to do all the names.
Yeah. So we can just say, I mean, it's legally.
It says, oh,
I don't have any problem legally with what I'm concerned about, it's just the security of the data you first. Facebook has had some problems with what they do with that.
Right.
I guess, I was just talking at you for a moment, your EIN is generally probably public knowledge, or it's not something you want out, because it affects your employees, and it affects your staff. I guess it doesn't hurt if you start thinking about it, Facebook, Boston, Mr. what's his name back over in Russia. That's my only concern, is just the security and the privacy of it.
Now, would you like me, would y'all feel more comfortable if we tabled it and I reached out to their administration and asked what are their protocols and procedures on making sure that the information stays secure? Okay. I mean, I don't know how long it'll take to be able to talk to someone, but I don't have a problem doing that.
I'd be in excuse me, I'd say we're approving it subject to.
Okay.
I just think you need to have something, kind of a firewall there,
Okay.
data that on your employees, data on your social security number, data on the donor, all of that, I mean, it's to some extent secure. Otherwise, we don't know what to do.
Right.
Rudy,
I'm just gonna, Paul, can we just add like a button to our website, like PayPal or, one of those, you know what I mean? There's a couple of them that you can like add to.
That's on our website. More people, I think, look at Facebook than they do the website.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people fixate on
Yeah.
Facebook.
They're
I
more,
don't have Facebook.
Well, I do.
well, it doesn't mean we couldn't do that too.
Yeah.
But if you want to reach more, Facebook is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, I just want to make sure that whatever you're doing,
It's going to be secure.
Yeah.
Sure, I can
And if we
definitely
can
reach
believe
out.
whatever they say, it's so.
Well, you need something in writing. and
But at
it's-
least we have
yeah.
something, yeah.
Do they have any kind of contract or anything that?
That goes with this?
Mhm.
No. I mean, we could retract it at any time if we wanted to pull that or remove that from the page. So long as part is the approval process.
It's not so much being able to retract it, it's to make sure that the information that we send them, they go
well, the main information given is Larry's birthday.
well.
And I'll look through and read, I mean, it may already be covered in the
That's when you
privacy
get
policy,
policy.
and I can review that. And I can pull the privacy policy and then send it out as well before
go ahead and table this until.
Yeah,
we get
let's,
that
let's,
information.
Well, Luke did say he would be okay with us approving it subject to, and if we do that, then we're
Then
in
it's
place,
simply-
we don't have to wait for another meeting and then another month to
Okay,
approve.
well then I'll retract
I
my
just,
take.
I just think it's probably two of you,
yeah.
treasurer, president, or whoever you want to designate, I'll be,
We can take a look at it.
take a look at it, just make sure you're comfortable with how that's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there a motion?
In that case, I'll move that we, accept having a donation button for Facebook, dependent upon the results of our
And you might go
inquiry.
and do it maybe out, like, Paul stopped and that, if that comes out.
Give that our webpage back. I'll second.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Whittick to approve adding the donation button to Facebook pending review of their security procedures on the information that District 2 would provide. All
We
of
need to say who's going to review it and give the final version.
Yeah, and it will be reviewed and authorized by the President and the Treasurer. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Reviewed item 11, review and discuss the possible approval of radio upgrade for command unit. Okay, I know you sent out, I got an email on that,
Yep.
but,
That was awesome.
Are there any questions on that? So the reason for it is that my main radio right now that I'm using is an older model. It's actually a much older model, a Midland radio that Chief Baker got on a grant several years back. And so he had originally given that to me to use for command whenever we first got the Tahoe. And it just hasn't been efficient being able to actually run a scene with it on ever being able to transmit and being able to verify that it's not even necessarily our repeaters or anything like that. I was initially going to table this to try and save the money and maybe put it into another year. However, we've gotten pretty busy lately and we ran a rather large scene a few days ago. One of the departments, which this is Chief Padalecki with District 12, and so thank you again for the help out there. But it made me realize for the good chunk of it right at the beginning, the only way I was able to even efficiently run command is I had to sit with Chief Thompson in his command vehicle to use his radios. So that shows that it wasn't the fact it wasn't our radio system, although that needs upgrading as well too, but it was my direct system. And then I asked Baker about it because he was there on scene. I said, hey, all these radios came from you. Is there anything that I can do differently with this radio to make it actually work, transmit better, to where everything's not static? And he said, oh, I ripped the one out of my vehicle anyway too. So he said he was going to look and see if there was anything he could do with the computer on it to try and change some settings around. But overall, I've been told by multiple sources that the radio as a whole just isn't very productive. Radio units, new ones are pretty expensive. Manny is able to get the XTL 5000. It's not by any means the newest, but it's an upgrade from what I have, and for a pretty reasonable price. $980, including programming, installation, and everything, to try and help us out to where I can get a little bit better operational on scene.
I think we need to go ahead and do it. Now, the loan that we have enough money to actually manage it.
we would.
Okay.
And I had asked him too, I said, is there any way that we can get this done and arrange billing to be in November or October after we start our new fiscal year? And he said, you know, of course this is a personal company that he has, that he just doesn't have the additional funds to where he can front that money and afford to go up on without being paid.
Is this a brand new unit or refurbished?
This is a new unit, I believe.
It's warranty.
Or actually, I think it's refurbished. It is refurbished. So anything work that he would warranty on it himself, he's been good. He's the one who did the installs on our lights and everything else, as well as sirens and things like that. So anytime I've had a problem, I call him directly, and he's working on it within the same day. And we've yet to receive a bill from him on anything. He stands behind the work that he does. But there's no factory warranty on this. I mean, a new radio, you're looking at $45,000 for a vehicle unit. So right now, that's out of the question.
Well, it sounds like something we need. I mean, you know, you had to use another entities.
The entity in there.
Yeah, yeah.
And what that means is, if you're first in, possibly nobody's gonna be able to hear you anyway.
Yeah.
And that was one of the major issues that we had. I made some requests for additional resources, and of course, dispatch just didn't hear it the first time. And then that causes issues on scene.
I'll make a motion to go ahead with the purchase. The radio.
Got a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Hawkins to approving the radio upgrade for the community unit at $980. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Not to exceed 980, sir, or?
Say again?
Not to exceed 980? 980?
That was a quote, was
The
980.
quote was 980, yeah. We can say not to exceed. Okay, now, the one that's gonna give us all
Oh, yeah.
heart failure, but at least we got EMS closed. Review and discuss possible approval of purchase of new heart monitors and Lucas device. Now, we discussed this in the budget meeting, Rudy, but evidently our heart devices are not gonna be LifePak, is that right?
We currently have LifePak 12s. We've had them in service for 23 years. And so their LifePak, who does our service plan, is through Physio Control, and Physio Control will not service them any longer after November. But they've reached their service life. And so they gave a couple options. They said that they could service them one last time in November, which I believe was going to be $300 a unit. They could calibrate them and everything.
Yeah.
And of course, we could go to see if it would, I mean, the most that could get us out of it would maybe be a year. However, if anything happens between point A and B, it's a liability because they have not gone through and renewed through the FDA to be able to continue servicing that unit. So, of course, instead of spending that money, almost $1,000 in just calibrations, we got to talking about what we could do for new devices for the department. They are going to give us $18,000 for a trade-in for our current heart monitors, and they have several different options in which we can balance out or pay the remaining balance on. So the remaining balance to be paid off after discounts and trade value is going to be $110,221.07. So the few options that we have with that, we can do 3 years at 0% interest, and we can make either monthly payments, and that of course would be just divided across evenly monthly, or we could do annual payments, or we could do 5 years at 2.5%. We could do stepping, what they call a step program, at 5 years to 2.5. So let's say we run our budget process, and for this year, we say, well, the only way that we can afford $500 towards these new units. So we pay $500 this year, but whenever we go into this, we would have to tell them from the beginning how we're going to pay it on any one of these terms. So if we choose step program, we would have to tell them year one we're going to pay $5,000 because that's what I used for the quote. And year two we will pay this, 3 we will pay this. Well, we can choose our amount, but it has to be prearranged at the time of purchase or before purchase is done. And then of course we can do, there's a leasing option, and your leasing option comes out to, for all the equipment, you can do monthly payments of $2,141 or annual payments of $25,000 as a lease. And so either way that we go on this, there's going to be a 4-year service plan. Anything goes wrong with the monitors, if ever batteries go out, things like that is covered in the service plan, which we found out quickly whenever we went into the service plan for the 12s. It paid for itself pretty quick because the batteries alone are very expensive. So it's not money that I was really wanting to spend this year, but it's more that we have to in order to stay up and with the times. I think we're one of the very few agencies actually still running like 12 monitors.
But you're saying the equipment is 110, but the overall total bill is 133.
What we're going to be paying is $110,000.
That's after-
That's the finance. That's after everything. The 133, that's where you're taking out your $18,000, it's less than 18,000. And then the email that I sent, I made the comment on there that on the quote.
If you look at the quote that you sent out for 5%, you take 48 payments times 2,364, that's 133,000.
Right, and it tells you at the end. So of course, which option are you looking at? For the 5 years?
Yeah.
So that's because you're paying 2.5%. So that's your interest.
Right, so we're still paying 133,000.
Right at the end. So that's breaking down. Even though your finance amount is 110, at the end you come out paying 133.
Yeah.
22,000.
The only,
Well, because they're shown here on theirs, equipment total, service total, freight and one payment of 5,000 to start with.
Yes, sir. That 5,000 isn't set. That's the number, how I explained it. That is on that STEP program. So that's the number that we choose. It could be $1. It could be $5,000. I gave $5,000 because I felt that was a reasonable amount for a year one payment. But that number can be adjusted to however we need, and it would be broken across the additional 60 months, or if you wanted to make annual payments.
because financially right now, the only way I see us doing it is the lease, because we're already, everything else is way over our budget for equipment.
Right, and of course, you're paying for it anyway. The good thing about, no matter which way you go, you still have warranty, you still have the service plan, so the equipment's going to be taken care of. And of course, at the end of the lease, you have the option, you can purchase the equipment at fair market value, or you do the same thing as a car. You trade it in for the newest model, and then you keep making your lease payments.
Which, if they're good for another 20 years, it's not a good deal.
Right.
Right, and that's the
But
thing is that,
if it's the only thing we can afford, we have to have it.
and it shows, a good track record, how long we've had these monitors in service, and they've been awesome, and we've had minimal problems with them. And of course, anytime we had a problem, Physio Control is usually here within the same day to take care of it.
What's the lead time from the time we make a decision
Until we receive the equipment,
and have it installed?
it's about 3 weeks before it's here. Everything put in the order, probably even sooner. Because the thing is it's not like whenever we got the new stretches or anything like that, there's no install or anything like that. We just do our in-service training on it, and it comes with everything that we need. The blood pressure cuffs, it comes with the SpO2 monitors and everything like that, cables, and the in-service training is in a separate charge. It's already, it's not free. You pay for it in here somewhere, but
Now,
they do as many in-service trainings as we require.
we're talking about the heart monitor and Lucas device. Does that cost also include the Lucas device?
That does. And basically, we were able to offset that cost of Lucas with the amount that we were able to negotiate on the trade-in and those additional discounts.
Because we'd still get the trade-in even if we went the lease route.
Yes, we get, and I did verify that whether we lease or whether we buy, we're going to get the trade-in for the $18,000 on the current equipment.
Any idea if at the end of the lease, what the fair market value might be, or if they'll do any kind of financing on that.
They will do finance, if we decide if at the end of the lease and we say, hey, we want to buy it, at that point too, we can go in and say, okay, we want to do this 3-year program, we want to do 5 years from that. So we still have an option, and of course, they weigh towards some of what you paid. And he said they're fair to you, and I asked him, I said, well, what's the fair market value going to be in 5 years? And, you know, he didn't have an answer.
Hard to say,
Well, technology keeps changing.
yeah, I don't expect these to last 20 years before.
Yeah.
And of course, there's going to be other models that come out within that time frame, but it shows how long that they last and that they're serviceable for.
The 15 has been out for how long?
The 15s came out in 2008, I believe.
So it's one we don't really have an option.
And I mean, the good thing is, you know, moving forward, adding medic units and things like that, I did verify that when it comes to things like over the past few years, how we've made separate purchases for stretchers, and now it's going to be for heart monitors. Moving forward, whenever we choose if we're going to buy a new medic unit, we can wrap that into that one same loan, so just one payment, so we can make it include our heart monitors and our stretcher, because obviously every medic unit you have to have your basic equipment.
Yeah. Madam Treasurer, that's your
Yeah. It was a separate attachment.
Well,
The lease, showing the,
as responsible as we can. I hate the idea of a lease,
yeah.
but
Now, he did say that
Yeah, that comes out to.
obviously their goal
close to
is to sell the current equipment that they have on the market. However, he doesn't have a projected an exact date, but that they know that within about the next 4 to 5 years, they'll be launching a new product. So he said a lot of agencies have been going with the lease. So that way, at the end of the 5 years, you can trade it, and then they'll buy that whenever it comes out brand new, and then stick with whatever model they come out with at that point. I believe this is their 4th model of the LifePak 15s. He said that we're not going to be any additional models after this current model. So whatever comes out next is going to be a new product altogether from them.
Have they given us any idea how long it will be supported?
What do you mean by supported?
Well, I mean,
as
like-
far as serviceable.
Yeah, 'cause like the ones we've got now, I mean, granted, it's been 23 years, but now we're here, okay, it's no longer gonna be.
Right, and he told me, even though, you know, they'll have a new product coming out in 5 years, he said they're gonna continue to service the 15s for a very long time, because he said that they've had agencies do large purchases of 15s. He said even, I think a week ago, he had an agency buy 100 and something of them, so there's still a lot of agencies out there buying these brand new and just now putting them into service. So he said, as a company, and to Physio Control, the 15s are gonna be serviceable, they're gonna have a very long service life.
until they quit making parts.
Exactly. And that's the thing, you know, you can still, technically, if we wanted to go certain routes, we could still get the 12 service, but it's,
No.
at that point, they don't stand behind it
All we
because they
need
haven't
is
done the FDA renewal. on
One
it.
person not to make it through,
Exactly.
cardiac arrest, while we're using one that would be
Yeah,
world, but
yeah, I mean, it's first thing, you know.
And it helps a lot on our reporting system inside now too. So I mean, for example, whenever, right now, if we do a 12 lead EKG on somebody, we have to then come back, we have the printed strip, we have to attach the strip to a piece of paper, scan it into the computer, and then attach it to the report so that it goes to the billing company and the hospital, things like that. The 15s are up in the technology, so now it Bluetooths that report right over to the Tough Book, and it plugs it right into the report, and everything's digital instead of looking at janky scans,
yeah.
lack of better words,
Yeah.
to actually support the documentation.
That way you get all of this.
Yes, sir.
I haven't heard you discuss, maybe pass over to you. But if you took where it is 3 year lease, 4 year lease, 5 year lease, would it automatically say
I'm not sure I understand.
Does it update as you go along? So,
Oh, at the end of the lease, if we wanted to keep going, and they just,
No, not at the end. Let's say
Jewelry.
they come out at year 3 and you got a 5-year lease.
oh,
Oh, yes, you can trade up if you choose to at that time, and if you have a 5-year lease, they'll work with you to trade in to get in the new equipment.
and if you're purchasing it, will they do the same?
If you're purchasing it, they said they are giving good trading values on the equipment either way. So let's say we purchase Life Pack 15s and we're gonna go and, okay, now they have the Life Pack whatever is out. We can trade in that equipment. Of course, the issue that you run into there is that, trading in, if at the point you trade in, if your equipment's paid off or if you're still making payments on it,
yeah,
on how much you're gonna benefit from that
it's
transaction.
like we had upside down.
There's no program value, you're just talking about having to negotiate.
And that's all it is negotiations on with these salesmen. They have a wiggle room, just like the car salesman, and that's what they are, salesmen. But and then because initially when we first started at trading values, they were only going to offer $2,000 a monitor. So you're looking at $6,000 trading value, and after spending some time talking, we were able to get it to where we were at $18,000.
This way.
Would it be like smart just to
I'm sure I don't have a copy of a contract or anything like that, but I can send over all these terms, all the terms on the 3 different payment options, along with Luke can go through, and I can ask exactly.
Guys, just a second here.
I can get it as broken down as we need to, and if you want to take extra time to review, like I said, we're not in a position to where they're going to be obsolete tomorrow.
Yeah.
We do have a little bit of time to think, and of course, the main thing on here is that there are some specific terms that were agreed to work upon and around in here, especially like the trading value for one. However, I think he would be flexible, as the way that this reads, it's good for 30 days on the quotes, on the prices that were quoted.
What date are
That's
those
the
quoted?
day of the quote itself.
August 15th.
Our meeting next month's the 16th.
I can easily ask for an extension. I can let them know our next board meeting is the 16th. These are all in the works. I mean, I'm sure just like the same thing with the rep on the blood warmer, the quote was good for 4 weeks, but he said if you need an extension, he said they're easy to work around.
I mean, I know next month's gonna be busy, because we've got the tax rate and the budget. I mean, typically those don't take a lot of time and discussion. At least historically.
It is a large purchase, so I mean, I'm all for making sure that we all are on the same page on how exactly we want to proceed with it. And of course, there are things that we can discuss in upcoming budget workshops in between now and the next meeting.
That probably behooves us to do that, to talk about it in our budget workshops. And so why don't we table it until the next board meeting? And then, I mean, we've got a budget workshop tomorrow night, and who knows what after that, we haven't yet determined that. So we'll just,
I'm going to make a suggestion before you table it.
Okay.
Give Adam instructions to get a written, he search the word salesman, I'll have to get.
Well, see, the estimate he's got out here, the numbers are totally wrong. It's like you're saying we get 6,000 per unit we're selling back to him, he's got it wrong here.
Right, and that's how I explained in the email that I sent out. He got out, so the numbers are correct on the finance options, and the actual quote is $3,000 off, and he was going to update that. But he pushed this out pretty quickly for me because we sat down and met just this last Friday.
well, that'll give us time then for you to get the up-to-date, accurate information. We can discuss them in budget workshops, and then we can entertain what we want to make a decision, which option, and take action at the next board meeting.
Which is September 16th.
September 16th, that's correct. Okay. That's item table with those instructions. Item 13.
More money.
Yes. Review, discuss, and possible approval of purchase of blood warmer for STRAC whole blood program. Now, I thought we approved at one of the previous board meetings.
We approved whole blood.
We approved whole blood, we didn't approve the equipment.
Right.
Right, so we approved the cooler on it.
Because he didn't have numbers on it.
Okay,
So
okay.
there's two things, so of course you have to keep the blood at a certain temperature.
Right.
We approved the purchase of that, and as you know, so Dr. Ogling's been making a very good push since the beginning of the year for the whole blood, and we have continued to put on the back burner because of finances.
Right.
This company, QuinFlow, with the blood warmer, so STRAC does, we are required to have a blood warmer, and it can be used for more than just blood as well if we needed to administer more fluids. But QuinFlow, the upside to going with them, for one, it's who SAFD uses, and two, they partnered with STRAC, so QuinFlow is who STRAC uses as the standard now that they've adopted as of the last STRAC meeting for blood warmers. So that means for us and anyone on the program who is working with QuinFlow, that if something happens to one of our units, a unit goes down, they're going to house additional units in San Antonio with STRAC. And so if something happens to one of ours, they will send us a new one while ours goes off for repair, or if they just decide to flat out replace it. The QI.
On this, on the proposal, there's disposable units and introductory set. What?
Yes, sir. So on the disposable units, so you have the actual blood warmer as the whole, which is a core, and the disposable unit is basically a little rectangle styrofoam piece that has coils in it. That's what actually warms the blood, and the blood passes through there. So those are what the disposable units are, because it's one per patient.
Use each.
Yeah, one per patient. It's a one-time use.
So if you use 18, you have to purchase 18 more.
So
Yeah.
the issue
But it's
here,
actually part
so
of the price.
they have their minimum order is a case of 18 at a unit price of 61 a piece. However, I told them that, I did not foresee us ordering that. We don't have the need to order that many like San Antonio would. And so we negotiated and worked out on the terms that you see here. So they would ship us a box of 18 because that's how their boxes ship. And we would only be billed as we use them. So we used one, we submitted its use, we took one out of our box, get a bill for $61, and so on and so forth. So we're not billed until we use the actual piece.
A point I'd make, get with them to get our name right. They've got Wilson County District 2 Emergency Services, and we're Wilson County Emergency Service District 2. Yeah.
Okay.
And what's our total cost on this?
Yeah, because,
I mean, what's the
between optional
supply?
services and everything else.
Yeah.
38.
And as you see down in item H, payment terms, so they have agreed to work with us on payment options because I did let them know about the financial constraints of the department.
What
And
about item E about refurbished units?
so we can go with a refurbished unit. It's as good as a new unit. Obviously, it still carries the same warranty, same service. If anything happened, they would still switch it out the same exact way. Everything works the same. In reality, whenever we did the math and it came down, it was only, I want to say about a $300 difference or so. $500. So I'm not a mathematician, so $500 difference, and that's a decision to where you have to make, well, you're spending the money on the unit, might as well buy the new unit. Or, but if we,
Well, if it's just as good,
If it's just as good, you're saving
so
$500 some odd
you can,
dollars.
and it has on it, but we most definitely, because that was one which they do, and it carries the same exact warranty as a brand new unit.
But we'd still.
And we can still make payments on it, and it still works the same all the time.
No, and we'd also have what, for the gold coverage or for the warranty
Yes, sir.
service would be 400 something.
Yes.
Year, 431.
Per unit. We only have one unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, my contention is, if the warranty's the same, everything's the same, and we can save $500 and some odd dollars, let's go with the refurbished unit.
Right, absolutely. And it says in here also as well that if at any time something else, they release a new product the same, so they do have a smaller product than what this is quoted for. However, it's not going to be available in the U.S. for another year or two. But if he said that comes out and we're inclined to where that fits our needs better, we most definitely can trade in, swap out it. He has that written in here to where at any time that we can do a trade in.
No additional cost?
On that one, no, because the cost, he said, is the same as this unit. The only difference is that it's a smaller unit as to what this is. It still does the same. It's just not in the U.S. yet because the company is based out of Israel. However, their service department and everything, they're in Plano, Texas. So they're here for service, and of course, Strack has adopted to use them. And you have to think about the product also as well whenever you think in terms of where it's coming from and the military that they have and everything with that.
But still, you know,
Yeah.
we can save over $500. I think we should go refurbish.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Okay, so if we go refurbish, what's our cost?
15% off the 34.38.
And these disposables actually are more expensive, but the cost is $61 for us because since and that was as of that day he came here from the Strack meeting where all that changed. So since they started working with Strack, any partner of Strack gets the Strack pricing and discount.
36%.
My math. Or at least the apples.
Kelly, what's your thoughts on how we ought to, if we go with this, how we ought to do the financing?
29, 22, 75, 73.
29, 22, 73.
Yeah, but then we also have the,
Well, the other one's $61 every
As
time.
we use it.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
They're talking about having to write a check for 29.
but also,
And
the coverage, I imagine we have to pay for that for the year.
yes, sir.
So
And
that's another 430.
with this, he did say and reassure that, let's say, we ordered the equipment tomorrow and had it here next week, that they would still work out not billing us until the next fiscal year, and they were completely okay.
When are you meeting with Strack to get the final approval?
In October.
So we really don't need this until October.
This can wait. Now, they do have, of course, a lead time. Just everyone is about the same, about 3 to 4 weeks. And Strack does want, they want you to have everything whenever you go to that meeting.
So we need to do it before, have it in place before.
Correct. So you need to have the equipment in-house.
Why don't we go ahead?
You don't have 30 days.
Yeah, why don't we go ahead and approve it with a refurbished unit and get the new numbers
Okay.
and
With the gold
what is
cover.
it? Yeah, I think so. And I think that's.
Well, I got, with the gold unit, I got 33.53 instead of that.
And then if they're willing to hold that until the fiscal year, that would probably.
They're gonna hold the price.
Yeah. Or
And
they're
I
going-
just need to know how you're gonna want that broken out of payments. If you're gonna want to do just write one check, or if you're gonna wanna break it into 2 payments, we can work around any terms that we need to there.
What are we looking at, 30?
33.53.
I mean, if we're gonna pay it,
That's
if we
not
get
enough
yeah, mess
to
with
split.
I mean, yeah.
Ask them if we pay everything up front, if we get a discount.
Okay.
Another discount.
No harm in asking.
No, yeah, the only way it always turns together, I mean, it wasn't, that information wasn't offered, it was questions that we were asking, so.
Yeah.
We can give them the PO and we pay them when they can catch us.
Is there a motion? There was a motion from Commissioner Cunningham. Is there a second? Commissioner Hawkins. What was the not to exceed amount?
29, 22.
No.
With the gold, it's 33.53.73. So I would say
3,400.
with the refurbished.
Okay. Got a motion by Commissioner Cunningham, seconded by Commissioner Hawkins to get the refurbished unit with the gold coverage not to exceed $3,400, and we will ask if there is any discount for early payment. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 14. Review, discuss, and possible approval of adding department electronic tracking system. You know, did somebody change the calendar? Is it Christmas?
I think so.
The only thing I've got here is that just between the, inventory and management.
Yeah.
license, never mind.
What is this, like a Zenwell system?
So this is a system that'll help us track and manage all of our inventory across the house, from medical supplies, drugs, all of our apparatus checks, our PPE, everything that we can build into it in an app base, basically. So that way, it helps a lot prevent things expiring and us wasting money by improper management of inventory numbers. And then, of course, with adding the additional station, I do think it's a very good idea, because you're going to have 2 stock rooms now. And then, especially with your narcotics tracking, this way, anybody comes in for an inspection, whether it be TCFP, DSHS, or DEA, everything is in one place. And I go to my files, and it has everything for every single day, every month is built into that.
Are we going to store the electronics at both places, or just one?
Just one.
Good.
Why do we need 7 licenses?
So you need a license per vehicle. So let's say, on our apparatus for our vehicle checks, every apparatus that I want to be built in on that, to be able to have a function on building the daily truck checks, has to be on there. Now that number can totally be cut back, because the only thing that is imperative would be really the engines and the medic units, because the medic units, of course, it's a state requirement that all of your fluids and all of your equipment be checked daily, and the engines, they have the SCBAs on them. So as far as brush trucks, there really wouldn't be a need. Those can definitely still be done on paper, so we could take that back to where that number goes to 5.
I'd say $400.
What's our total cost on this?
The way it sits with 7, they've got 42.70.
Is that a one-time payment? Is that annually? Is that?
That's an annual payment, I believe.
Annual?
Yeah, there's some,
Yeah, the software.
5. There's an annual,
Well-
a quarterly, and a monthly.
So if you think about, and
But
well,
But it's every
1,500 for
year,
training,
not one
which is
time.
we would probably certainly break even on just the amount of being able to track a little bit better, making sure that we're not having such a high number of drug expirations. We've already cut back on that a lot. Previous administration, they just ordered largely in bulk of a lot of things, when in reality, there were things that didn't need to be ordered in bulk. So we try and just keep on hand exactly what we need, so that way drugs aren't expiring. Because every time a drug expires, I mean, it's literally throwing away money. There's no use whatsoever of it.
Okay. Well, it says, yeah, that's just the license. It was the 2772. And that's yearly.
Yes, sir.
So that's
And that licensing, and then it
You mean
includes,
4272?
it's,
2772 a year just to be able to use the stuff.
Oh, well then what's the 4272?
That's for $1,500 for training.
that's a
Oh, okay.
one-time fee,
Okay.
so they come.
Oh,
to
okay,
the
so it's
service.
2772, but that's for 7 and we cut it back.
Yes.
Okay.
And so even if,
But then you have to have the equipment.
no, there's no equipment that comes with this. It's built onto the tablet, iPhone, the duty phone.
Okay, you don't need a barcode printer or anything if you're going to do that.
He can do manual entry.
You can do manual entry on these items and manual tracking, so you can plug in the numbers, and once we manually enter our inventory, and out here you can easily enter, I took out 5 IV sets, or whatever have you. And no matter whether we get 1 license or 10 license, even if we just get 1, that feature it comes with is unlimited stock rooms basically. So, and that's really the biggie, is monitoring the EMS supplies. Because I'm not saying that I'm suspicious of anybody here stealing anything, but I'm a realist, and I know that at some point or another, maybe somebody gets a wild hair and tries to take something for themselves. This will have everything tracked, so we know we're not having anything walk off, whether it be to people's personal bags or anything like that. And you can build the entire, so it's a few times where Glenn has brought up as well, making sure having the total station inventory, you can build the total house inventory into it, so everything's tracked, and you can track everything on our oil change due dates, certification expirations, a bunch of different features that you can build into there.
Now, how many people are going to be trained on using the system?
Oh, everybody's going to be trained on it, because whenever someone comes in for duty, and whenever the medic crew's checking off their truck in the morning, that's what they're going to be using to check off. And I've seen several agencies that do use this, and they've had an extreme success with it.
So they'll have a handheld barcode reader for each thing, or is it just?
So of course you can go with barcoding, but everything you do manual entries on it for our purpose, because if you get to adding a barcode machine and printer and reader, you're adding more cost.
Yeah, okay, I was just trying to.
So
If you've got the system, basically it's just going to tell you the inventory on a computer that you're supposed to have in every unit.
Right.
And so if anything changes, you have to do that by hand.
Right, so initially, whenever they come in, we build everything in with their technician, and then they show us how to build it. So every time we receive a shipment in, now we'll go in, have a simple spreadsheet, go plug in exactly what I received and its dates, and then whenever that moves, it's the same thing. So for narcotics, that's obviously what's tracked the closest. So every time I receive any controlled substance in-house, I log in exactly what I received, what it is, its expiration date, its date in service, and then every time any single vial makes a movement, whether it be to a medic unit, and when it gets on a medic unit, if it's used on a patient, and if it comes back and any amount is wasted, every piece of it is tracked all the way along the way. And of course, this is something too that we can 100% still discuss budget workshop. This isn't something that a decision has to be made on today. There's not a time frame
Doesn't seem
on
like
it.
a lot of money, but
Well, I think we also need to decide exactly how many units you need.
Right.
Because if you cut it down to 5, you have a savings of almost $800.
And we could cut, I mean, if the real actual need, we could cut it down to 5, because that tracks my SCBAs, and then it tracks all of the equipment on the medic
But
unit.
remember, it's only as good as the person operating.
Right, but it gives a lot better accountability. Now I know exactly who was on. Okay, so you said you checked your box, you checked your truck, and that everything was there. And so why did your relief come in the next morning and there's 10 IV setups missing and you ran 0 calls. So it really narrows in on that accountability.
I'm not understanding the barcoding or the absence of barcoding. There's not a
It's not
positive indicator of what it is you're
Yeah.
picking up data on.
you done it manually instead of scanning.
Yeah, and if you do it manually, then you've got all that human error built in.
Yeah.
But I forgot, or I wrote the wrong number, or
What's
Put in
the
the wrong number.
what's the barcoding difference?
Let's first get.
I didn't see a price list for it.
Yeah, there's, well, there's.
Oh, it's in, it's
Depends
in
on
the
what color
big
you want to buy. Spicy yellow.
it's
The,
like having a vehicle without a VIN number.
Handheld reader is 14, first these are more one-time costs, $14.50 for a reader. For a barcode printer where, is another $15.50, so $3,000 for equipment to make your
Right, for barcoding.
barcodes and a
Which is
reader.
more secure.
Now, of course, the barcoding,
And then you
that's,
still have to get the supplies, the special printer.
the barcoding, right? Now, those things, of course, that's a one-time purchase once you buy those. That's not going to be an annual, but it is an additional cost.
Well, now, make me understand, I thought that doesn't the supplies you get in, don't they come in barcoded?
They do have barcodes on them from the supplier for how
Right.
they track it. However, we would still have
That's
to
not
have.
the barcode you could
You
scan?
could definitely use that
Yeah,
barcode, but
but-
you would still need a barcode reader
Yeah.
in order to
Well, yeah.
program into your system to acknowledge that.
Also, that barcode is going to show like, basically it's your model number. You know, if you have 5 things of all the same, their barcode, you know,
All
5
be the
things
same
marked
as
in.
opposed
So
to,
you would actually.
That barcode will probably
actually
stay the
barcode.
same.
okay,
Right.
Whereas if you had your own tag and barcode on there, you know exactly which one it was used. I can see that more for just the narcotics.
Right. And so, I mean, as of right now, I mean, we just have our own barcoding system for the narcotics. Each vial is labeled with a specific number
Yeah,
that we track in-house in the spreadsheet, and that's how we track the whole vial's life whenever it's here. So it'd be essentially the same thing, but you could use the barcode on the product, but like in saying, you basically scan it and say, okay, now I'm interested, and I have 500 of these, and every time I take it out, I'll scan one, scan it, and say I take it out.
keep
But-
it.
You still would need to have the reader at that point.
Yeah. And you still have to do inventory because if your computer says you've got 432 and you go in there and there's 2,
Exactly.
you know, you have to know it's good.
But I mean, all those are available. I can get a price put together. I don't know if I'll have that before tomorrow evening, whenever we meet again,
yeah.
but
Well, why don't we table this and review what we can during our budget sessions?
right, because at the bottom it does have all the costs, all the pricing of anything that you may want to add.
Yeah,
We're not at.
Yeah,
we're
The
not
problem
at-
is, once you start adding add barcode, you got that, you got to read what else do you have to go with that?
Well, if you're doing your own, you have to have a printer.
Right.
And then you have to buy the paper and special ink cartridges and seals and tags and.
So how many barcode readers do you need?
Yeah, yeah, it's.
And I did talk to,
You need one probably in the supply room and one for the
Right.
guys to use in the units.
and so I know some services around us that use them. I know David uses the system at 3. I know Karnes County uses it, Converse uses it, so I can see how, or if it's beneficial for them in being able to save money and have better tracking in the long run, that they feel that it was a good investment.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Chief, y'all use it.
Say, item 14's table.
Hang on.
We'll talk about it.
Do you? Joe, you can anything like this?
I use all that.
RMS, okay.
Item 15. Oh, Review and discuss demand reports for July 2019.
So is Medic 90 out of service?
It's not out of service, but we're not using it if we can help it. The air ride system, we're still the issue with that.
Will it drop while you're driving or what?
The problem is that it dropped and it never came back up. Siddons did say it's okay to run it like that, but it's just going to be bumpy. So if we're getting a backup call, we're rolling it to 4th or just at 3 right now.
I know a couple
They're
weeks
supposed to have
ago,
that prepared this week.
I know a couple of weeks ago, you and Glenn were discussing about bringing the 2.5 back over here. Did you get over here?
Not yet, but it's ready to come once we
Right.
get.
We discussed it the other day when we did it, but to try and arrange timing where we're not having anyone driving in the heat of the day, because that thing only goes about 45 miles an hour.
It's got a 245 air conditioner.
Trying to go through it, yeah.
Yeah, we can drive it straight through, I guess, from his house to here.
Yeah, a couple fences get in the way, but that's about it. Sure, the people wouldn't mind. We just start a fire.
Yeah, we have an excuse.
I could maybe start the pump back again. Well, I can't even do that. But I'm getting started.
You say on your command vehicles, your rotors are warped. You gonna take care, you're just gonna put new rotors on?
Is what we're gonna do is one of the gentlemen had a good idea on. He said pull them and turn them,
Yeah.
and then of course, but so that you're not out of service, you put a new set on there and then just rotate. We have 2 Tahoes, so now you have another set ready to go. That those can go onto the rescue
Yeah.
or down the road.
Depending on how they've been used, do they have enough left to
How
turn?
much meat is left, let's go.
Yeah.
Even new ones you should turn because they're not.
Yeah.
But here again, you know, I know that's only a few $100, but still.
Yeah, that's something that needs to be did,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned it, but we haven't made any purchases or anything like that with it yet.
And you just use the rescue while y'all are doing work here or what?
Yes, sir. That'll be the plan. And I know the rescue is needing some front end work over that, and being put on the back burner because we're not at our staffing levels right now where we're really using it anyway.
So it's not.
Adam, we say here, inactive employees are going to be relieved from duty up to July. Have you had anybody relieved?
I did relieve 2 employees.
Would you copy the personnel department when you do that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And then, of course, technically 3 of you with the termination that I sent to you.
Got that.
Okay, any other questions on the command report? Okay. Yeah.
Well, you're busy, man, but just give us a little more leeway next time.
Yeah. He called me apologizing for the car accident.
You apologize to somebody then.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any special protocols for stroke people? And you know why I'm asking? I do.
I'm presuming due to relative.
Yeah. Because the short story is, relative went to Methodist, and the hospitalist, this person had an 11.5, this person on no liquids, no food. And we checked out DNA on Saturday, and went home and seemed to be okay on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, when they died. And somebody said, why the heck did they go to the second
that's,
And,
so,
well, let me finish. St. Luke's was then up and ready immediately to do their protocol. And then we got into St. Luke's a lot earlier, people knowing to get to St. Luke's. We probably still have a lot of lives.
that's our protocol exactly, actually, whenever we get on scene, we do stroke scale screening. Rapid, if we're able to identify that the patient is having a stroke, then our transport is straight to St. Luke's because they are a comprehensive stroke center, as opposed to a stabilization stroke center. So that we transport and we can go back and pull, but every single time we have one use testing on MAH00063, which is a comprehensive stroke scale, they go straight to St. Luke's. And that's our protocol. And we're out of that scene in under 10 minutes and transported.
And they explained to me very clearly, that the medication was on 3 hours. I was not aware of that, so I wanted to pay for it.
Yes, sir.
And I guess everybody knows it. If you miss the window, you miss the renewal of the clock.
Yes, they do have the medication to where they can remove and they can reverse, but you have to catch it in that window.
No triage somewhere on the way, you just go.
Yes, yeah, we go straight to St. Luke's.
Sorry.
They're still
That's
using
all right.
TPR on that,
I'm sorry.
or are they still using the TPR, or have they changed it?
As far as the medication,
Yeah,
it's TPA.
TPA. Good.
Okay.
They need it.
Item 16, discuss meetings for budget and planning. We have a budget and planning meeting scheduled for tomorrow. That's the last, that's the last one we've got scheduled, you know. I mean, we'll have everything at the next board meeting where we actually go through the approval process, have a public hearing, do the approval process. You know, my feeling is we're not going to get finished tomorrow night. If we do, that'd be wonderful. What's everybody else's feeling?
I'd be amazed.
Yeah, I think so. This is what we did the last workshop we had. You know, we just went in and put in some numbers, and now tomorrow we really start looking at those overall, where it comes out bottom line, income versus expense, that sort of thing. And that I think may be lengthy, because then we'll have to start looking at adjusting to be sure we've got a balanced budget for next year. When is a good time to schedule another meeting after the one tomorrow? I mean, I've got to wait. We've got to do like,
At least 3 days.
yeah, because
Probably next week, maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, 27.
I won't be here.
okay,
When will you be here? When you leave?
Probably either Sunday or Monday. In the week. Probably the following week.
I can do the 3rd.
third would work. But do you know,
When you be back?
you know, that's 13 days from when we had, have the board meeting, so we could do the 3rd. Want to do it 6 or 6:30, Kelly?
I can be here at 6.
6, okay. So that's 9/3. Yeah. 6. Yeah. Yeah, that's just a budget workshop, so.
For the meeting for tomorrow, is that scheduled at 6 or 6:30?
6.
6.
Yeah. Okay. And then we figure figure out if that one, we need one more before the board meeting, we can do that. But that gives us two between now and the board meeting. Okay. Item 17, on September 16th at 6:30 now, since I keep getting confused between 6:15 and 6:30, I've said 6:30 here, so it's okay, we just start at 6:30. I mean, Stroh's was 15 minutes later. We'll have a public hearing for the 2020 tax rate. On item 18, on September 16th, the public hearing for the 2020 budget will be held following the tax rate public hearing. Now, I have contacted the newspaper and gotten the information that we published last year for the public notices about the hearings. And, I'm going to go ahead and do it again, so we got it out.